presented by AIRWAAV. I'm your host, Sydney Smith, and I'm here with James Sprague, who is a professional CrossFit athlete who not only excels in the CrossFit scene, but also relies on cutting-edge performance technology. He made the CrossFit Games twice as a teen in both 2017 and 2019, and most recently made the Games as a men's individual in 2023. I'm excited to be talking to him, so stay tuned for our conversation. So, at Wodapalooza, take me through, you were talking about how it gave you like a new mental, I guess, perspective just on the sport and being a professional athlete, going in to win. Finish taking me through that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think coming up from the teens division to the individual division has been, a big mental thing because, as a guy, we progress later and we hit our peak strength later than girls. And so it's like, I've always had this cloud in my head of like, oh, you're just not there yet. You're going to have to keep aging. You're going to have to keep training harder to bridge the gap. And so, like I said, it was the first competition where I felt like, oh, I'm there. Like I'm here to stay now, and I don't have to keep, stressing about getting older and getting stronger. It's like, no, I can just keep fine tuning little things that I'm bad at, and things are generally gonna keep progressing as long as I stay healthy.
And what about the swim event? Because I saw the very enthusiastic finish there. Did he used to swim or?
Yes. So I had 7 to 8 years of summer swim team experience, and I did it with a bunch of friends and my brother and family, and my dad was always super, adamant about me being good in the water. And so I made state as a kid. I think I stopped swimming at like 12 or 13 years old, but I made state, and it was like, oh, I like this sport a lot. It's a lot of fun. And so when I found out you get to do it in CrossFit too, I was like, this is great. It's already something I know and I'm comfortable with. So whenever I get to do it in a competition, I'm a happy boy.
Going into that event, were you like, this is my event to win, I'm going after it to get the top place finish, or what?
Totally. I try to not look at any event and like tell myself like you're for sure going to win it because anything can happen. But like I knew that like, hey, if I have a good shot to win anything or be top anything, it was that one. And so when I went into it, it was just like, have confidence that you can go out hot and hold on, and try and, suck some guys into a pain trap that they might not be able to handle. And, just trusting, like falling back on all the training I've done aerobically for that kind of thing, gave me confidence that, hey, maybe I can be on top for this. But at no point was I like, I'm for sure going to win. There's no one that can touch me because every guy out there is so good. Like all the competitors and the guys and girls elite in every competition now is so solid. So you really have to show up if you want to win one of these things.
I think it's like the perfect mindset to have too, because you want to have the confidence to go into each event, but not being cocky or arrogant or just assume that it's going to happen, because like you said, that anything could happen. And
Totally.
It could even go vice versa of maybe you don't think you're going to do as well, but if you go into it just doing what you can, you end up doing better a lot of times than you think you would even do so on an event like that.
Totally. Yeah, it's a controlled confidence, like you said. It's not a I'm gonna do well in everything. It's like a realistic confidence.
Yeah. So going back to, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't say anything. All you.
Okay. Going back to when you even started CrossFit, I think you have a very interesting story that's really inspiring for athletes or even just people, maybe they're not even in CrossFit, but doing any type of movement or something, because how you started, you weren't, I guess it wasn't like a guaranteed thing that you were going to be some top level athlete, and maybe you didn't even think that back then. So what drew you into the sport of CrossFit?
Totally. So what drew me in was community and giving a sense of purpose. So like I felt like when I started CrossFit, I didn't have a lot of solid friends or a solid group of people to hang out with. I felt kind of like outcasted, if that makes sense. Like I think a lot of middle school, this is when I started with middle school, I think a lot of middle school students, or kids of that age find it hard to like feel a sense of like belonging with certain groups or certain people. And so I started CrossFit when I was like, man, like I really just want a group to work hard with and go into these deep dark places with and be able to come out on top of the trenches with. And so like I started CrossFit because my dad, CrossFit helped him overcome his addiction with alcohol. And so I was like, hey, if this helped my dad get out of a dark place, like maybe it can help me. Um, so I started just going to the gym with him a couple times a week. I was absolutely so out of shape when I started, so it was a very difficult thing. But you know, I just kept showing up and kept being consistent, and day after day, fell in love with everything CrossFit had to offer more and more. And I really, from the beginning, I realized like I want to compete in this. Like this is so fun. I literally walk out of the gym every day like exhausted and empty. And I think there's something to be said about you know, finishing something on empty and leaving it all at the door. Um, and how much that can help you as a person develop in ways outside of the gym. So I wanted to work harder in school. I wanted to be a better brother. I wanted to, you know, be a better son. I wanted to work harder in all these avenues because of what CrossFit was teaching me. So it made me holistically a better person starting the sport.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I think too, it's really hard to start something new, no matter what it is, especially because when you're starting out, you're not automatically good at it, and it can almost become discouraging whenever
Yeah.
maybe everyone else is better than you, they're good at it, and you want to be good at it, but it's a process to get there. So whenever you were starting out, it was very hard. But what kept you positive or to keep showing up, like you said?
hmm Progress, the measure of progress, like, is what kept me, you know, coming in day after day, no matter how sore I was or mentally beat up. It was like, I'd love to see when I can add 5 more pounds on the bar. I'd love to see when I can get one more rep on this workout. And I think every human naturally wants to see progress in their lives in some point. And this sport is so measurable compared to other sports, you know, that it's like, oh my gosh, like you can see the continued progress week to week, or you can see vice versa. You can see the continued degressions if you're not working out hard, and your health is so measurable in so many ways. And so that kept me showing up.
And now that you kept showing up, you kept progressing, you kept improving, now you are at the top of the game. It took quite some time to get there, but you still were able to hold on, and now you are excelling in the sport. So, did you find it hard to, or even now, do you still find it hard to enjoy it and really have a peace with it at such a high and demanding level?
No, so quick answer is no. I absolutely love this sport. I would do this sport if I still had to work another full-time job on top of it. Like it draws me in so near, like I was talking about earlier. It's like I love what it teaches me, and I love how I feel after, and I love the relationships I've built. So for me, the sport just gets more enjoyable. I walk into the gym every day as like I get to go do it. Like it's a privilege and something fun I look at, and something I'm like, if I don't get to do this, I feel like something's missing. So it's so ingrained in me, and there's so much love I have for this sport that no part of me feels like it's a job. No part of me feels like, oh my gosh, like I have to go do this today. Dang it. Like it is very nice that it has become something that provides me and my future family an income, but at no part of me like looks at it as like, oh, I have to show up. I have to do this. Um, so yeah.
I think that's very special too, and just that mindset, I don't think is that common and will prove to be
Mhm.
more successful and long lasting for you, especially if there is
Mhm.
that desire and enjoyment with it, and also just not putting
Mhm.
so much pressure on it and your identity in it, because it's truly something that you enjoy. Obviously, you want to
Mhm.
do well, but it is not end all be all who you are.
Totally. Yeah, you have a big valid point. If we put our identity in anything of this world, at least in my opinion, we're going to be let down. Like there's going to be years of competition where, hey, like I did not do as well as I wanted. If my identity was in that placement, I'm going to be crushed. And so I actually went through a couple of years where my identity was placed in CrossFit, and I noticed it just was so unhealthy for me. It was so not who I wanted to become, and then I got saved by Christ, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is where my identity should be placed. And it was just a big time mind shift of like, well, and a big wake up call for me, like never put all my eggs in one basket unless it's eternal. And that's been a huge thing for me. And a reason I have a lot of happiness and success in the sport too is because, I mess up, I'm gonna get back up again. And one of my favorite verses from the Bible is Proverbs 24:16. It's a righteous man falls 7 times, yet he rises again. And so like rise again, keep getting up. That honors the Lord. And so it's one of my missions is like no matter how many times I'm gonna fall down, just keep standing back up, keep working hard. It's going to pay off. Whether it's today, tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years from now, the end goal will be there. And I believe that.
Yeah, and I think that mindset can really be put in any type of situation. And I think people really see that in you, that there is some of it is personality and just your enthusiasm as well, but just standing out, being excited. I think that comes from the mindset and your faith, as you are saying, and just showing that there is a piece. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing at this moment with the peace of the Lord behind you.
Totally. Yeah. 100%. Sydney, you got it. You hit it around the dot.
So you started as a teen in the sport, and this last year you made it to the games in the men's division. And with the year prior, you just missed out by 1 point and on the last chance qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was so hard, as we were kind of talking about just barely missing out and just a huge goal that you had.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, do you want to take me through the mindset that you had, and maybe if that shifted your positivity at all by missing the games by literally barely?
Totally. So yeah, that was kind of my wake up call when I missed the games by 1 point. It was like I thought. So I moved to Florida that year. I put everything into CrossFit. I moved to Florida for CrossFit to be the best CrossFit I could possibly be, and that was 3,000 miles away from everything I knew back in Seattle. So I thought that, if I make this move, everything's just going to fall in place because I made the move. And if this is the end all be all thing, it's going to make me the best CrossFitter. And so when I missed it, it humbled me, and it made me realize, like, it's not about where you're living or how much, like, yes, you have to sacrifice things to be a good athlete, but like if I am sacrificing my core root values of like being away from family and being away from my fiance, it's like I'm going against everything I want to be. So that experience of missing the games was so humbling for me and made me work a lot harder in the gym too. And just made me realize don't take any one training day for granted. And try and make the most of each individual piece in your session too. Like don't be relaxed going through the motions. It's like have intent with going through the motions in the gym. And that experience of missing it made me just really realize it's not about the place you're training in. It's about the effort you're putting into each individual day.
It sounds like you learned a lot just even from that one circumstance of putting all that you had, moving to Florida. And yeah, how do you think that you have evolved as an athlete and competitor since your first introduction to CrossFit several years ago?
Yeah. So the big thing for me that grew was not being injured and being healthy in the gym. Like I faced so much knee pain and shoulder pain and all these things that held me back from squatting, pressing, doing burpees, like all these things I needed to do to get strong because I was a weaker athlete, super aerobic, but very weak. And so I could never lift weights. I could never get traditionally strong with the snatch and cleat jerk. And so over the last couple of years, like actually being healthy and getting my joints right and keeping my body in balance has been a huge thing for me just being able to make good progress. Training through pain every day was so hard and just so like mentally exhausting because I felt like I was just never making strides like other people. And I see all these videos on Instagram of clean jerk PRs while I'm doing glute bridges to get strong. Like I can't load my knees in a squat. So being able to actually do the traditional CrossFit movements and train them aggressively really helped me like take that next step. And I finally started getting healthy about a year and a half ago, and having no pain day to day, which was super nice. So that definitely helped me bridge the gap over the last few years.
I think whenever you have a weakness like that and it's really hard seeing other people improve so much and then you're doing what you can, it almost becomes disheartening to what you're
Yeah.
doing because you're like, why is this not working for me?
Yep.
And everyone else is progressing. It seems like so much faster. I know that's tough to see and I think relatable for a lot of people too.
Yeah, if you focus on what other people are doing, it tends to not work out in your favor. If you focus on the little improvements you're making, you're always going to be happy and just happy with your effort. So always look at your effort, trying to stay off of social media and not like fixating on what others are doing has helped me a lot. Like just staying in my lane because if I'm in my own lane, I'm giving 100% effort. I believe in myself enough to know that that is enough. Not what someone else is doing is going to be my enough. What I'm doing is enough.
For sure. Yeah, in taking that
Yeah.
in all your experience so far, what would you say is the best piece of advice that you maybe have received, but also maybe that you might give to someone else?
Totally. Ooh, this is a great question. Um, Take it one day at a time. Like it can feel exhausting when you have a whole season in front of you. You have so many things ahead of you. So like for instance, the Open starts in a month. Like then there's quarterfinals and there's semifinals and there's games. It's like just like what if I just think about what I have today instead of all these things that could be stressing out? Like what do I have to get done today? What is going to take me? What can I do today to make the long term better? And just staying in the moment. So I think staying in the moment as an athlete, as a person specifically, just helps me maximize my happiness and maximize my efficiency in whatever I'm doing. Like, for instance, not having my mind in any other place than this conversation right now. Like, hey, I am focused solely on making this the best talk we can possibly have rather than, ooh, what do I have to get done after this? Like, oh, I have this, this, and this, and this. No, like, I just have this right at hand. So focusing on the moment, I would say would be my best training and piece of like life advice.
Yeah. And we want to focus on the moment, but
Yeah.
also still having goals of what's to come. So looking ahead this next season, what are your goals in the
Yeah,
sport?
totally. Yeah, great question. It's so true. Staying in the moment doesn't mean like you're not focused on like the future, but you're just focused on what's right now to work toward that. So for me this year, my big goal is stay healthy again. Like having a healthy season. And my like if I have a numerical goal, it's top 10 of the games. Last year, I knew I could top 15. I ended up getting really sick at the games and not having a performance I wanted. But that happens to everyone, so no excuse there. So I want to go into the games in top 10. I want to qualify for the Rogue. I want to have a more full, complete season, and I want to just keep making new friends in the sport. I just love connecting with new people, meeting new people. So being able to like look at the end of the year and be like, oh my gosh, look at all these amazing people I met. That's a different goal I have as well. But so I'd say health, top 10, meet new people.
I think those are great goals, and I think you and I are similar in that I also love meeting people, talking to people as much as I can, and
Oh,
just
let's
learning
go.
people's stories. I think that's one of the great things about the sport is the community
Hmm.
behind it. So definitely can relate with you on that one for
Totally.
sure.
Love that. That's so awesome.
And okay, so you've been in the game for a while, and along the way, you've picked up some
Hmm.
various tools and tricks to help your performance. Is there, I guess, any tool, maybe possibly AIRWAAV, that has helped you in some way to get a little bit more of an edge?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when we're talking about AIRWAAV, so many people can just see this as like a fitness mouth guard, but it is so much more than that. So AIRWAAV for me, the biggest thing it does is help me feel in control of a workout rather than letting the workout control me. So like if I have a piece that looks just so hard on paper, when I use the AIRWAAV, I feel like I'm able to mentally stay fixated in the workout. My oxygen intake is so much better. I feel like I'm recovering between movements better. I'm more efficient in movements. And it sounds so crazy that one little mouthpiece can do this for you. But genuinely, it's like my favorite product I work with and favorite team I work with of any sponsor and anything in the CrossFit market, because this
Love
literally
that.
is making me a better athlete every time I'm using it. Like, yeah, sure, belts and knee sleeves, like they support good lifts and whatever, but this is literally helping me maximize my fitness and my output in each workout. Um, so yeah, AIRWAAV for me is so great. Also because I do a lot of strength work. And in my strength work, I get a lot of headaches if I'm not using the AIRWAAV because my jaw and my pressure. I'm putting so much pressure in my head and clenching my jaw so hard and like flexing. It sounds weird, but like flexing my temples. And so the AIRWAAV allows me to. I've said this before, but put my face energy into somewhere. Like if I'm if I put my face energy into this AIRWAAV, like my jaw is aligned, I'm not getting these headaches, I'm taking deeper breaths, and I feel like I have better bracing mechanics as well in my core and in my hips. So it's something people don't talk about as well. The AIRWAAV helps me align from head to toe, um, just my whole body during big lifts.
First of all, love that. Love to hear it. Love that it's helping you improve in various different aspects. What can you give like a certain instance of how you think or have seen it positively impact your performance and endurance as well?
Totally. Totally. So, this is one of my favorite things I love to tell people to do with the AIRWAAV the first time is go ride a bike for 10 minutes. On an echo bike, like go ride an echo bike for 10 minutes and try it without the AIRWAAV, like going at a decent pace. And then a couple weeks later, go try the same piece with the AIRWAAV, and literally you're gonna feel like, oh my gosh, I can take a much deeper breath. I'm under more control at the same pace. And so I love monostructural work to introduce the AIRWAAV because it allows you to actually feel that deep breath that it can give you. And so I that's something I recommend to people is just start simple with it rather than try and do all these
Yeah,
complex workouts and try and feel a benefit. It's like start simple.
easing into it is a big aspect of it too, just because it is new, especially for a lot of athletes who haven't even used a mouthpiece prior in whatever athletic background, if they had one or not. I think it's a thing to keep in mind for people trying it is to ease into it, like you said. So great advice. What do you think
Mhm.
sets the AIRWAAV mouthpiece apart, and how has that technology improved your experience as an athlete? You've touched on it some, but
Mhm. Totally. Yeah, great question. So, the big part is it's utility. It doesn't get in the way of like my mouth. Like I'm not feeling like there's something foreign in my mouth and it's uncomfortable. Like it feels like I can wear this thing all day long and there's no like part of me that's like I need to spit this out. I need to get this out of my mouth right now. And I feel like there's a lot of mouth guards I've worn in other sports that are like, this is so uncomfortable. Get this out. So that it's super nice. It has that comfortability feature and it fits along the ridges of your teeth really nicely in your gums. Um, and then I would just say the technology of it, the bar sitting right behind your bottom teeth, like makes it feel like you can still like bite down fully and not like keep your mouth open. Like it using the AIRWAAV doesn't mean like you can't close your mouth. Like it's just positioning your jaw to be in this optimal position. So mainly I don't feel like anything's in the way, and it's just a part of me, if that makes sense.
yeah. Do you think there's a mental side of it to it all for
Mhm.
you?
Oh yeah. yeah, if I don't have it in, I start to question, am I able to hold certain paces? Am I able to do this and that? Is my capacity as good? So I like don't go anywhere without it. I don't do workouts without it anymore because I've seen how much it helps me and seen how much this really benefits my training. So I I'm like not willing to sacrifice that.
And lastly, for someone who has not tried Airwave before, what would be your biggest reason as to why they should even try it out?
Yeah, so as human beings, we want to maximize our potential, right? And whatever we're doing, if it's business, it's relationships, it's our fitness in this aspect. So if you know there's something out there that works and you're not taking that leap, like you are setting yourself behind of the pack. Like there's so many benefits this thing can do for you, the airwave. And if you're not using it, it's like you're missing out on so many benefits. Specifically, like I just think that all of us are potential seekers innately as human beings. So like, if you know there's something that's gonna increase your potential, like why not hop on board?
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love your advice.
Hmm.
I loved hearing your story. So thank you for sharing some of your story. I think it's very
My
inspirational
gosh,
for
for sure, Sydney.
literally anyone listening. So thank you very much. And glad to hear you're loving Airwave in various different aspects. And hopefully other people can hop on board with that, just like you.
100%. Yeah, I'm honored to have this conversation and like I love good people behind the brand too. Like Jordan has been nothing but amazing and just wanting to help people. That's his mission is like I want to see athletes be better. Like this guy is just he's such a economical wizard but also has such a caring heart. So it's been really cool to be a part of this team.
Yeah, well, glad you're a part of it. I love our team. Glad to have you on the team. We'll see where we go from here, too.
100%. And best of luck to you in your season. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
thank
like
you.
stoked for you. You have really good people around you. Like you are set up for success and I'm excited to see where you guys go.
Thank you, too. Hopefully, we'll see each other maybe before semis, but also on the semis floor since
Be
I
sweet.
think we'll be at the same one, probably.
Are you going to the West or East? East. Okay, I'll be in the West because I live in Washington now. But I will be
Oh, I
cheering
didn't
you on
realize
because
that.
I'll go first. So I'll be the test. I'll be the test. I mean, yeah, I moved. Yes, I moved from Florida back to Washington.
Oh, how's that?
Hmm. It's been so good. I so as I talked about a little bit, like in the conversation we had, is like I was so fixated thinking like I needed to be in a training camp, I needed to be around high level athletes all the time in order to succeed. And being back in Spokane, Washington was like I was really nervous that I wasn't gonna be able to train hard and train well, but like God provided so many good friends and so many good people in front of me that it's just been like a dream come true and like a completely refreshing new feeling of CrossFit because I'm just having so much more fun in the gym, cracking jokes with my boys, dancing and being hooligans. Like, I just love it. It's been so good.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't realize that you moved all the way back over to Washington, too. That's a massive change
Yeah,
in trip over there.
totally,
Well,
totally, 100%. And sorry, you go.
if you're ever going to Tennessee, I don't know, anytime soon or anything, or if you're ever in Alabama, let me know. You can come work out here too. Not that you'll ever be in Alabama, but by chance.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sure. I think I actually will be in Alabama in June for a. It's called Good Life. It's an organization that helps kids get involved in gyms and get to know Jesus more. And I think I'm doing a camp there in June, so I might be there. I will keep you up to date.
What part of Alabama is that in?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's
I'll figure
okay.
it out and I'll let you know.
Perfect.
Yeah, but
Well, just
dude,
let
have
me
so
know
much fun in
then.
Tennessee. Okay, I will. Tell Dom I say hi. Give him a hug for me. I miss Dom, and
I will.
make sure Nate's doing good too. He was my old roommate, Nate Ackerman.
I love that. I'll let him know.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Good to chat with you, Sydney.
Perfect. Thanks, James. Well, that's all for today's episode of On the Air. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, James, for joining me. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to purchase your own AIRWAAV mouthpiece if you want to break your best and unlock your full athletic potential. Drop any questions that you have about AIRWAAV in the comments below, and see you next time.